Welcome to the Market Mystics podcast, where we discuss what's happening in the cryptosphere and trading on Earth as it is in heaven. Buckle up and huddle on while we dive in and get weird. Here are your hosts, Joshua and Kim.
Hello, all you beautiful people. Welcome to a Thursday episode with the Market Mystics. Kim, how are you today?
I am doing well today.
Awesome.
Yeah.
We are 5 days into January, and things continue to be pretty stable, pretty mellow, I would say. And we've had this conversation personally of just how kind of feel like we're sitting on the edge of something and don't know exactly what's going to happen. And I would say the markets kind of feel like that as well. Like Bitcoin for 24 hours is 0% change. 7 days is up 1.5%, like trading at 16.8. Ethereum, again, flat over 24 hours, up 5%, a little bit more over 7 days. $1,200 per coin. The top mover is XEC eCash. It's up 7.8%, 11.2 over 7 days. Currently trading at 1/1000th of a penny. Is that right? Or 10,000th of a penny? I'm not sure.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
eCash was previously known as Bitcoin Cash, ABC. Is that right? So yeah, it just nothing. It just seems like things are really flat right now.
Mm-hmm.
And
that top mover is not even 8% up.
Yeah, and that builds a lot of, I would say, potential. And the potential is just potential. Like it could be potential to go up, it could be potential to go down. And I kind of feel like that in my personal life is that I'm sitting at a place where there's a lot of potential. And I don't necessarily mean up or down, I just mean potential to go multitude of different ways, um, without really knowing what direction that is.
It's an interesting thing. So we've been talking about nearing the end of 2022. Just personally, we were talking about there's just this sense of anticipation for something, right? And we might have talked about this in the last episode on Monday, but it was like, at least for me, like kind of heavy anticipation. I don't feel like it's heavy bad. It was just like, I'm expecting something. I don't know what to expect, but I'm kind of expecting something.
Mm.
And then it's a bit unnerving because I don't know what to expect, like you're talking about. But as you were talking about that, I just had this thought about maybe 5 years ago, probably 2 to 5 years ago, in that kind of span of my life, I would come into times of anticipation, but the Lord would give me a piece of what to be anticipating. So to be completely honest and transparent, and I mean, you listeners, you can blow me up in the comments. I don't care. But I was one of those people who was highly anticipating a blackout in 2020. And we, as a family, as a community, we were all really preparing for what that would look like if it happened. Right. And then it didn't happen. There was no great blackout globally or anything like that. But as you were talking about this, I am taking this full circle. As you were talking about this and having this anticipation and not knowing what it is, I just had the thought, maybe I've matured a little bit. And now the Lord doesn't have to give me something to expect. He can just put me in expectation and know that I'll still abide, as opposed to having me go towards something.
Right.
That may or may not happen. You know what I mean? I also am of the belief that he'll have you prepare for things that could happen. but sometimes they don't happen. And that is not me trying to cover my own tail and say that I wasn't wrong ever before. It is just that I think he does those things so that you will prepare. And if you have vision for what that is, then you'll go in that direction. But I just kind of wonder, are we in a season where he's saying, okay, there's anticipation, but I am not going to reveal it yet, what that thing is. Will you still hang?
Mm.
What do you think?
Yeah, I do think sometimes that happens. And we talked about this a little bit before, but I think during those seasons, instead of preparing for something, the only thing you can do is prepare yourself. And so, whether that's physical healing, emotional healing, spiritual maturity, um, just getting space and structure inside of you for whatever the anticipation is to land on when it arrives or doesn't arrive.
Hmm.
Um, and that can be a really uncomfortable place to be in because I do think it's easier to prepare for something.
Right. This is
Yeah.
why I'm kind of I don't know, comparing, but mm, matching up with a little bit of maturity. I don't think that I'm fully mature. I'm not going to say that, but I think that I'm more mature than I was a year ago. And I
Mhm.
was more mature a year ago than I was a year before that.
Yeah.
Um, but I wonder if it's kind of some of that. Like maybe he doesn't have to tell us exactly
Mm.
what it is yet. And I'm going to bring this back to the rest thing. Maybe this week, both of our episodes just kind of go with each other. One of the big lessons that Josh and I learned a couple years ago when the father, like, seriously took us out of everything individually. Like, we're not married, we are friends and we're business partners, but he took us through a very similar season at the same time. And it
Mhm.
had to do with being completely disconnected with everything that is normal or everything that was normal at the time. I mean, being halfway across the world with limited communication for a month long just to get us to learn how to rest. um, but I think about that in this context. One of the things that we learned during that time, and this was a big part of the lesson, was the importance of being
Mm.
as opposed to the importance of doing when it
Mm.
comes to sonship, right? And that might sound a little bit, I don't know, counterintuitive to what we just talked about, like being willing to take the step from 0 to 1 to allow the Father to take you from 1 to 10, right? Being willing to do that step, to take that step. But I don't think being is actually inaction. I think that the difference between focusing on being versus doing is a mindset of identity. Like if I do something, then I'm someone. But
Mhm.
if I am, then I am someone.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like it's a
Mhm.
mind shift, and it's not a difference of an even action and what the outcome can be. It's here we go again. It goes back to source,
Mhm.
right? Am I sourcing from who I'm meant to be and who I am in the Father, in Yahweh, whatever you want to call him? Or am I sourcing who I am from what I do?
Yeah.
So sometimes in preparing for things or like having anticipation, we look at some of this, and instead of me and going, seeing something that may be coming in the future and physically preparing for it, doing all the steps that I think are necessary to be prepared for this is a bit different than having an anticipation without knowing what it is and still like readying self,
Yeah.
right? Getting
Yeah.
into this space where I'm focused, getting into this space where I'm ready for whatever comes. It's less
Mhm.
doing and more being because it's
Yeah.
not so tangible.
Mhm. Yeah, the thing that was on like my heart was like encouraging the listeners to I mean we talk about this a lot, but like do your own research, prepare yourself, study, educate. Like, we've had great resources on the show. Like we've had Mark Wilburn with Neo CDG has excellent training material for stock trading. He has a little bit of crypto stuff. They're moving into the family legacy things that we talked about. If you want to learn more, you can listen to the Make Your Mark episode. Um, but like he's an excellent resource for education. We've had our friend Francois on with Who I Am, and he has excellent crypto trading courses that you can really educate yourself. I would encourage you to learn about stocks, learn about crypto, learn about blockchain. Um, but like Kim said, don't allow that to become your source. And that's the big difference. That's the big difference between, um, I don't even know a good way to phrase it, but that's a big difference in how you approach things. Is trading your source? Is that your source of supply? That may be the avenue that Father is bringing resources into your life, but is that your source or is Father your source? And I think you just have to look at everything as coming from Yahweh. Like I think slowly but surely that's been my mindset shift is just seeing as everything coming from him, whether it's I find a penny on the ground or I have a successful trade or I have a job, like it may come through other people. Like people may give you money, you may earn money by doing something. Money may come through other people, but they're not your source. You have to see the money as originating from Yahweh. And that's really, we talk about it if you've listened to us for any amount of time. Source is such an important thing for us because source has the ability to take something from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil and put it in the tree of life.
Hmm.
The exact same thing in the exact same situation has the ability to be completely different depending on how you view the source or where your source is connected to. And so, like I would recommend people seek out Mark. I would recommend people go through Francois' course. I would recommend you just go to YouTube, like learn about something, uh, and prepare yourself. Go for a walk, do some push-ups, whatever it may be. Um, but always keep the source as Yahweh.
Hmm. Practically, how do you do that?
I think it's it's just a mindset shift. Because even if I have a job working, I don't know, fast food, let's just say something like that. You can say, okay, well, this fast food chain is my source of supply because they're the ones who issue the check. But I think you can shift your mindset to seeing the money originating from Father flowing through the fast food chain to you and then ultimately flowing from you into other things. I think that subtle mindset shift will change the way that you approach what you do there, will change the way that you view the money coming to you, will change the way you view the money going out of you. And I think it is it is a subtle shift and it is just a way of thinking about it. But it's practically, I think it's just something you have to start practicing. I
Yeah.
think I think that's what it comes down to is you're not going to get it right all the time. I don't get it right all the time. But it's something I am working towards is having that mindset of seeing wealth coming from Yahweh through others into me through me into others. Um, Even if I'm the one going to eat at a restaurant, if I view myself as a conduit of Yahweh's resources flowing through me into someone else, that changes the way that I function. It
Hmm.
changes where I choose to eat. It changes how much I tip. It changes my interactions there. Like that, just that mindset shift, I think is significant.
I totally agree. Um, and one thing that I would maybe add a little bit that I've found to be helpful in having that shift is coming into the place where you can realize or start acknowledging um, that everything you're doing is in partnership with Yahweh
Mm,
or with the Father. And it is not him telling you to do something and then you going separately and doing it on your own. It is like in a partnership. Josh and I are in a business partnership. And when there's a direction for our company, it is not a I tell him what to do and then he goes and does it. It is
right.
a this is what needs to be done and then we both outwork it. We might have different parts in it, but there's always that partnership that is realized in it. And so
Mm,
it's never actually someone doing something by themselves and carrying the whole load. And I think it's very similar with the Lord. Like, I think we have to get over this separation thing, like that, oh, he's there and I'm here and I can't hear. I'm not hearing clearly. He's left me. Something like where you think you're separated. I think we have to realize he's within us always. There is no separation. If there's
mm,
separation, it's because we've turned, not because he has. So if you
mm.
just keep your face turned toward him, then you can do all these things in partnership and it changes everything.
Yeah. 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 it is just that mindset shift in looking for him in yourself, in everything you're doing. I've been reading this book that's talking about like looking for God in creation. And it's not maybe clear, it isn't worshiping animals or nature. It is just recognizing that they were created by the same creator and looking like for those uniquenesses that he put in them and recognizing, oh, like Yahweh created this way because that reflects this part of his nature, and like honoring and seeking that, not actually worshiping creation. We worship the creator, not the
Right.
created. Um, but yeah, it's just that looking for him in everything changes the way you approach everything. And I think that's one of the best ways to prepare when you're sitting in anticipation without knowing what to prepare for, is just to start looking for him in every situation you're in.
Absolutely. Good stuff.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us today, guys. We'll see you again next week. Have a great weekend.
See ya.
Thank you for listening. Join us every Monday and Thursday as we discuss trading on earth as it is in heaven. If you want to connect further, follow us on social media at market.mystics for Instagram and TikTok, and search for Market Mystics on YouTube and Facebook. If you still need more, follow the link on Facebook to book a coaching appointment. Until next time, see ya.